Hey, what's going on everybody? It's DJ Sketch and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite games of all time, as well as one of the first games I ever played as a kid on the Genesis. It's Strider. Released as a launch title on the Sega Genesis in 1990, being a direct port of the Capcom arcade cabinet which released in 1989. This side-scrolling action platformer is one of the highlights of not only the Genesis catalog but Capcom's as well. Based in the year 2048, in a dystopian future, features a variety of set pieces and enemies throughout its 5 stages in the pursuit of Grandmaster Mayo. The arcade version of Strider would be the video game debut of the character Hiru, a member of the ninja clan known as the Striders. Shortly after the character's 1988 reveal as the main character of the manga of the same name, Strider Hiru. The manga was also heavily referenced in the NES version of Strider, which differs significantly from its arcade counterpart. But we're going to get to that one eventually. Today we're going to focus on the Sega Genesis version. The story of Strider is fairly simple, being that Strider Hiru is the highest ranked of the Strider clan. He is tasked with assassinating the mysterious dictator only known as the Grand Master, who now rules the world. The journey begins flying into the Grand Master's capital in the Kazakh Empire, and the game just goes from there. Throughout the 5 stages, this game was going to throw a lot of things at you as far as gameplay. Aside from swiping your Cypher sword to dispatch enemies, you can also pick up health upgrades to increase your health stocks, sword upgrades to increase attack distance, as well as 2 robot options and even a Robo Cougar, which not only protects but can also ram through a lot of enemies in a hurry. Each stage will have a multitude of verticality, using your grappling hook to scale most obstacles around you, and stages will include at least one mid-boss encounter except for stage 4, which is arguably one of the tougher parts of the game, and stage 5, which has a boss gauntlet throughout the stage leading up to the final battle. Between each stage, Strider also featured cutscenes that had multilingual language. These had to be scaled back a bit to remove the dialogue from the Genesis version, but the background images and music still remain 100% intact. Through the game, bosses and environments will greatly begin to vary, which was one of my favorite parts of the game. And also one of the parts that stuck with me even back in the day was the anti-gravity section on the battleship Balog. The spiral orb chamber was also insane to me, even though on the Genesis version, this is where one of the unknown enemies will actually arise, at least noticeably, that being Slowdown. The arcade port was pretty snappy, and also really didn't have much as far as a graphical limitation, even though it was a hand-drawn 2D action platformer, and it pushed the limits of the system for sure. But on the Genesis, it did the same thing, which also creates Slowdown. But also at the same time, I never really found this a distraction with this port. But be aware, if you're gonna play this version, it's going to chug in some sections. Also, another big thing with Strider was the music. This was one of the most driving video game soundtracks, and it really did add to the experience, pushing the narrative and the game forward. The Ouroboros and Hero tracks in particular were always some of my favorites amongst many others that you're going to hear throughout gameplay. The soundtrack, in short, is amazing. Strider is a game I make a point to play at least once a year and sometimes attempt to speedrun, even though those runs usually never break under 20 minutes. That being so, it's a game and series I constantly revisit since that very first time back in 1990, as one of the first games I remember renting and when I first got a Sega Genesis. And hence I recommend this highly to anyone that's a fan of hack and slash platform style games, since this is one of the best places to start, and the affinity of Strider is one of those things that I will always be happy that I figured out about long time ago. So for this one, Strider gets a 9 out of 10 and is definitely one to check out alongside its official sequel, Strider 2, which released in 2000, and also the 2014 reboot, also of the same name. And let's just try to forget about the tier text Strider 2 Journey into Darkness, because Capcom sure does try to. And I thank you again for checking out this video. If you find these helpful, that's awesome. I'm glad you can find this as a resource. And we got some more reviews coming up in the future, so stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.